Merhaba and welcome back to the Ottoman campaign in Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. Uh, so, mm, oh yeah, no, this is the. Okay, I did a mistake in the description of the previous episode. I now see. I thought the previous battle we fought with the Americans was the one at Jutland, but no, this is. The previous one was somewhere else. Anyway, that's done. So, Rook's class battleship, 19-inch guns. They could be Mark 5s. I saw like a year ago or so, the Americans researched Mark 5 20s. So they definitely have Mark 5 19s, but are these actually new enough that they have those mounted, or are these going to be Mark 4? That's kind of a big distinction. Because if they are Mark 5, they're probably going to outrange my 17s. If they're Mark 4, I'm probably going to outrange them, and I'll get the first shots off. Also, the Mark 5s are just generally a lot more accurate. Right. Big heavy cruisers. They have 20,000 tons. Almost 21,000. But only 9-inch guns. That's kind of undergunned for that kind of displacement. Not a lot of light cruisers and destroyers. I think we saw the Paul F. Foster in the previous war. I think this is a older design. Maybe all of these are old. Did we see these in the previous war as well? I think we did. Right. So maybe these are really old as well. The Rooks. I know the Des Moines is kind of old, because I got a couple of them as war operations in the previous war. I made them good. They were not too impressive as built. Right. All forwards. Both battlecruisers and battleships. Very French. My battleships are all lined up. Everything is already lined up. Hang on, you're set to follow someone. You're not supposed to do that. So, almost perfect. Almost. Should have noticed that sooner, and that destroyer wouldn't have made that turn. It's gonna cause a traffic jam. Let's take a look at the enemy ships. The Phelps, I know, that's a Des Moines. Which is a cruiser name, by the way, not a battleship name, but the AI doesn't care. This is the one I'm curious of. They're almost cooking here. Almost. With the layout. Mark 3s, okay. Triple base and picric acid. Also super heavy shells. So, that could be quite explosive. And also only Citadel 3. Which, actually Citadel 3 gives you better protection for your magazines than Citadel 4. So in dip, Citadel 4 is just, not really worth it. Kind of opposite from Vanilla, where Citadel 4 for many ships is arguably better than 5 because of the resistance bonus. But anyway. Let's turn the line so that when they are in range, which they will be soon, I've got a 10-kilometer range advantage here. I can have all my guns firing at them. I'm not sure what they're playing at with this circling formation thing. That armor is certainly impressive though, despite not having a third layer. What kind of radar do you have? Gen 1. Okay, this is going to be a problem with the cruisers. They have a higher top speed than the battleships. And as such, struggling with the formation. Well, they are slowing down. Right. Torpedoes are almost in range already, while I was yapping about something else. My battleship guns have started firing. At least some of them. Not quite in range of the battleships yet, but soon. Okay, our lead torpedo boat has taken a big old hit. So we're just gonna dump your torps at a target. They're gonna turn away. The other ones are also now in range. Let's see if they can get a good launch off, even if the enemy is doing weird maneuvers. Now destroyers. The lead ship here has also taken a hit. And attracted some incoming torpedoes by the looks of it. I think my battleships are far enough behind that they shouldn't take any unintended torpedoes. attach as well. Oof, you took that one. Big 19-inch hit. Hopefully we can get out. Some of these torpedoes are just gonna miss. But some of them are hitting. Rooks has already taken 3 torpedoes. Phelps is gonna take a few as well. Duncan took how many? 1. Ethan Allen just took 3. Okay, so that's pretty good. We did actually score torpedo hits on pretty much all their capital ships. Except for Macon. We lost 1 destroyer for that. Probably gonna lose this one as well. But they're gonna lose at least Phelps. Probably Rooks. I don't see Phelps correcting all this flooding. Well, they could correct some of it. Right. Torpedo boats, you can do circles here until needed. There goes Rooks. There goes Ethan Allen. Let's reselect some battleship gun targets here. Cruisers are engaging 1 light cruiser. It's fine. There. I think that for my next campaign, what I'm gonna do, in addition to doing the thing I've mentioned with the revolution GDP growth modifier and reversing it, I'm gonna give the AI an additional buff to research. Just to compensate for the fact that they typically don't refit or replace older ships. It's probably just gonna mean that I will constantly be behind in technology, but that's okay. Ooh, 1 additional destroyer lost. Yeah, that was the damaged one that was trailing behind. But we also sank Phelps. also about to lose range on the enemy. We're gonna have to close in again. Four-belt pen on Duncan. Oh yeah, my torpedo boats. They're taking fire. Oh, the ugly weather arrived. Not cool. So this battleship is entirely unharmed. Let's see what we can do about that. It's quick though. 32 knots. Might not have the typical American fast battleship main armament, or main armament layout even, but it has the speed. Our leading torpedo boat no longer has the speed. Oh, maybe it does. The temporary flood. No, they're gonna pump it out. We're good. Can you launch though? Probably not, because it's heading away. Weren't you just intact just now? You were, but then one of my battleships blew your turret off. So all of these have launched. Cruisers are mostly intact. Vienna has taken some hits. Lost a turret. Lost all their ammo. One of the 19-inch guns from the enemy battleships. If you don't have any ammo, you might as well just go home. Yeah, they haven't ran out of ammo. It's just one of them had it blow up. Yeah, with the main gun pen. I have no idea if my torpedoes are headed in the right direction. Can't see them. Oh, there they are. Are we gonna get torpedo hits on Macon? Maybe it's not needed because the battleship guns are doing the job. I'm gonna get one. I'm gonna get two. How's it done? Trodden did take one torpedo. There we go. A few more battleship hits as well. Sealed her fate. Macon will now be slowing down with the flooding. So it's going to get a little bit easier to hit as it's no longer zooming around at 34 knots. Right. Now it's just the mopping up phase, basically. I'm gonna hit on Macon. Took out some of their ammo. Their cruisers and destroyers are doing the thing that the AI, sadly for them, typically does, just worrying about in a death spiral formation. Can't really they can't really decide if they want to close in with torpedoes or retreat and just hang around their battleships. Moving a little bit closer, I think. What kind of torpedo ranges are we talking about here? 9.2 from the heavy cruisers, 10 from the DDs. Light cruisers do not have torpedoes. Because if I'm having trouble seeing my own torpedoes, I will probably not see the enemy torpedoes. There we go, secondaries are opening up. My cruisers can start dealing with the enemy destroyers, I think. Battleships can probably split their fire a little bit. It also said secondaries to the destroyers. Lots of big numbers showing up on my screen. That's the stuff you want to see. These are the super affordable budget destroyers. And I think the ferry is the last one. It's almost gone now. 2%. 2% flooding. So close to losing the rest of our structure as well. So yeah, that was pretty good. That was a very good victory point tally. Yeah, pretty much the only ships on my side taking any significant damage were these two destroyers that got sunk. But they sure dished it out as well. How many torpedo hits did each of them score? First the two that sank. 40-23 didn't score a single torpedo hit. 40-25 scored 4. How about the torpedo boats? 1 torpedo hit, obviously a dud. 5 and 3. 3, 7. Nice. And 3. That was pretty successful torpedo action. And of course the battleships just dishing out pain constantly. Right, so those were the meeting battles in May of 1954. We also have a convoy battle and a naval invasion. Here, they're trying to invade southern Colombia. Yeah. Yeah, they probably have to do that because my armies are marching from southern Colombia and into Peru. I can also take Peru with this task force. Let's see. Let's start a naval invasion. Eastern USA. 1.5 million. Maine. 500,000. Peru I can easily take, but the army is already doing that, so why waste the naval assets? But I don't have the tonnage to take Chile. Not here. Or do I? What kind of tonnage do I have? I could. I could do that. Sending this force. Yes. I could do that. Send this force over to South America. And this turn just opened an invasion of Kiachao Bay from Germany. Yes. I think that's the plan now. Kiachao Bay, 31,000 tons. Now I do have the tonnage sitting right here. And they can bring their torpedo boats as well. Destroyers can remain in port. I'm building 4 more battleships in Singapore, so I'd like them to have a little bit of an escort when they're finished. That's why the destroyers stay behind. Do they have anything headed for that invasion? As long as they don't actually put any ships here, it doesn't matter. Right, what do we have here? Cruisers and battleships. There are 2 task forces here, just one behind the other. Guess we're just gonna have to roll the dice and see which of them we actually get a battle with. Let's do this one convoy battle first, and then figure out what to do with the remaining ships, where to move and such. S-Class Heavy Cruiser. Oh yeah, that's mine. Duh. Because the Germans also have an S-Class, but that's a battleship. I also had an O-Class light cruiser, but they've been retired now. Right. Yeah, my O-Classes have been retired, replaced with Veves. And, yeah, they are capable, as we've seen. So this should go okay, I think. Hopefully. Right. Torpedoes off until needed. Let's see. That's a lot of different guns. That's a big light cruiser though. That's twice the size of the Veve, at least in displacement. I'm not so sure about the firepower though. You got this very weird turret layout. On paper they have 18 6-inch guns, but they can't bring all of them to bear. How about the heavy cruiser? 11.6-inch guns. That's pretty punchy. They only have 2 turrets. 2 guns each. That's a weird take on a Deutschland. Let's see if we can score some torpedo hits. With the light cruisers. I'm gonna try the thing where I target the transports with torpedoes again. It has worked well in the past, but it has also not been so successful at times. Yeah, just gotta check. The transports do not carry torpedoes. Because that is a nasty surprise when they do that. Okay, Kakadagi, cruising speed 28.4. Let's see. If we target one on each of them. Guns and torpedoes. We have a decent chance of scoring some hits. The enemy has also launched torpedoes. We're gonna get some hits here. No. No hits on the enemy heavy cruiser. But some hits on the light cruiser. But my cruiser certainly scored some good hits on the enemy. Including some main belt pens. And there we go, a flash fire as well. And seeing as she only had 2 main gun turrets. That has greatly reduced their firepower. And also their flooding to death. So now everything can just switch to CL 2518. Which has launched torpedoes at something. At Kakardagi. If I straighten out, speed up, we can avoid that torpedo. Let's not run into it with Fatih. Yeah, no, we're good. Torpedo stopped. There are more of them. Should be good. Fatih, you're just gonna go slaughter some transports. Kiss you little Mark. You too. Right. That went well. And there we go. All three surrendered. Alright, back to the map. Let's see what we can do. More Americans. Going for the Battle of Jutland location. That the AI is very fixated on. Now, which fleet are we going to meet them with? I can send these ships back to Gaeta for resupply. Minus the destroyers and the torpedo boats. They're gonna stay behind and link up with this fleet, which is a bit low on destroyers and torpedo boats. There. And yes, I have another fresh squadron of torpedo boats and some destroyers. One destroyer sitting here. You can also move to Gaeta. This light cruiser, I don't really have any enemies in the Mediterranean now, so that doesn't really serve any function having it there. If I can move it closer to the US, it can operate from Nassau. And if the Americans have any ships in port, you could drag them into some kind of convoy battle or something. So you don't really get those if the enemy don't have any nearby docked ships either. I also have these two. Let's send them out to do something. Where? Labrador Sea. Eastern North America. They can operate from Quebec. Let's see if that gives us any juicy missions. Right. Transport capacity, still good. I don't think I've forgotten anything now. My new battleships are how far away? 1 month. And then 2 months for a bunch of cruisers. Nice. 2 meetings, a strike, and other things further down the list. I'm blockading the Germans. I don't think they have that many ships left. And here we go. The first of 2 meetings. That's a lot of cruisers and destroyers. Yeah. Obviously the fleet that was supposed to link up with the battleships. But they didn't. Possibly because it's full, the task force. And there were no room for any additional capital ships. Yeah, that's a lot of crew per cruiser. That's what's eating up all their available crew for the task force. Right. So this is going to be a big... is it going to be a battle or a turkey shoot? It kind of depends on what they're doing with these. Okay, these cruisers have torpedoes. The ones in the previous battle with the US did not. That's a different class. Right, so these green class DDs, not very threatening in terms of, well, anything. Not a lot of torpedoes and not long range torpedoes, but there are a lot of DDs. So I guess it depends on if they rush me or just circle around. But they don't have any battleships to circle around. They're just cruisers. Okay, that could be an interesting fight, but it's going to be a long fight. And I think it's going to be long enough to be in the next episode and not in this one. We'll find out then if my big guns are enough to deal with a bunch of tiny ships. Goodbye, and take care.